Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Prevail, True Power, out August 19th on Fearless Records. The album has 15 tracks, 44 minutes in length, and this is the band's third full-length studio album. They are an American metalcore rock band. Now, from a design point of view, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of the intro track. It doesn't really add anything to the experience. It doesn't add anything to the flow, to the overall dynamics of the record. It just feels like it's there just to be there to introduce the album, but it should have more than that, just sole purpose. It should really connect with everything else that is happening, and I didn't get that vibe from it. But outside of that intro track, you have 14 songs that could all be singles. That's the quality of this record. This record has quality at every turn. Every song has incredible sound, incredible experience, very dynamic, very fluid. An album that doesn't follow patterns, that really gives you 14 different looks, and it keeps moving the listener along those 14 different looks. I don't mind this diversity, I don't mind this experience. They do it really well. One of those bands that can really create an album that feels like a compilation but still give it a full-length record style to it. This album has a little bit of those two worlds in it. I just feel like it needed to be a little bit more concise. When you have 15 songs, 44 minutes, and this much diversity, you start to become used to that diversity. So the impact of the changes, the impact of the movements of the songs become less and less relevant the more you get into the record, because you start to expect something different. You may not know what that something different is, but you're at least expecting it. So keeping the album a little bit more concise, a little bit shorter, will allow these songs to have a more deep and meaningful impact towards the listener. You were able to remember them a lot better. You were able to walk away from the record pinpointing the songs that you really gravitated to. This album, because of its length, because of the number of the songs, it loses a little bit of that, and it allows you to kind of feel like the record overextends itself and is not perhaps as impactful at the end as it was in the beginning. From a soundscape perspective, this is a diverse record. It has a lot of different influences: new metal, pop, metalcore, rock, pop rock, electronic, hip hop. There's so many different pieces coming to the table. The album becomes a little bit of a gumbo, if you will, of everything that this band has always been and always will be, and all of the influences that have come into their sound. They're not just a one-trick pony, and this record perhaps reflects that side of the band even more. It also shows that they're feeling comfortable within themselves to create an album that doesn't fall under one specific umbrella. An album that is diverse, that has a sense of movement, that has a sense of impact, but it's also not driven by one musical element. I can't sit here and tell you that the drums are incredible or that the guitars drive the experience. The drums are incredible and the guitars do drive the experience, but not on every single song. Every track brings a different element to the forefront and allows that element to drive the track, to drive the experience, to be the conductor of that sonic boom that's hidden within each and every single one of them. Either be the keyboards, the synthesizers, either be the guitars, the bass, the drums, a combination of all. And this album is really all about the combination of all. This is a record that's about all the elements coming together, creating the best sound possible, creating a sense of diversity, using the same elements but in different amounts, with different weights, with different proportions, in order to change the feeling of the song and in turn to change the movement that these tracks have, that sense of connection that they offer, the lyrical content, how that interacts with all of these other moving pieces. So when you look at the soundscape of this album, you have to look first and foremost at the quality. The production behind it, the mixing is outstanding, really bringing the most out of each and every single one into the forefront, allowing you to appreciate all the different pieces, all the different elements that went into creating that specific song. And then the second part of it, you have to admire that doesn't matter how much the style changes or the influences dictate where these songs are going from track to track, the quality is undeniable on every single one of them. It doesn't matter if it's more of a stripped down ballad. It doesn't matter if the song has more keyboards. It doesn't matter if it's more of a metalcore hard rock song with heavier guitars pushing through with killer bass lines. It doesn't matter if it's a more rock or hard rock driven song with a pop style chorus. Every song feels absolutely perfect for what it is. It's just that it's hard to put them all together on one single umbrella. I don't think they're worried about that. I don't think that was the goal at all. It was to create an album that is diverse, that has different approaches, different ups and downs throughout the entire experience, and allowing the overall picture to be the one that brings the listener back, not depending solely on one single factor. Having said all of that, the vocals are phenomenal and are perhaps the one element that tries to stay, or at least feels like it's staying a little bit more consistent from beginning to end. It doesn't matter if it's the harshes, it doesn't matter if it's the clean vocals. The vocal performance throughout this album is really interesting because it adapts, it morphs, it blends in with the sonic experience, it blends in with the lyrical content, with the emotions, the organic emotions that the song bring into the forefront. So understanding the dynamic of the tracks, understanding the lyrical content, and how better deliver the message and create a song that feels complete on all fronts is something that's really important when you have this much diversity. I felt like they hit that nail on the head from start to end. I really enjoyed the dynamic of the styles of vocals coming together in single tracks. Sometimes have multiple styles in a single track, but still not overstepping one another, not feeling like there's one approach that's overtaking the other or that's more important than the other. It's all about giving the songs what they need musically and obviously vocally, but the vocal performance is incredible from start to finish. This is a very strong album, perhaps my favorite album from Prevail that they've ever released, and I'm normally not a huge fan of records that feel this diverse or that sound this diverse. If you watch my reviews, I think you're going to get that message quite a lot. They come across more often than not, they're in a compilation, and I just don't gravitate towards them because there's no journey, there is no path. But the strength, the quality of those 14 songs that follow that intro allowed me to digest them individually, not really worried about finding a path or finding a journey throughout the entire album, but rather just vibe with each and every single one of them. The same kind of way you would vibe in a live setting going through a set list. There's really no path there, and it's more or less a compilation, but you still get the most out of each and every single track because they are the greatest hits, because they are their biggest and baddest songs. And in this album, I feel like you have a little bit of that coming to the forefront. A great rock sounding album with a lot of different elements, incredible hooks across each and every single track, bringing everything together as one of their strongest, if not their strongest record to date. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Self-Destruction. Great guitar sound, the aggression and the sound and the vocals really elevate the intensity of the track. This song from start to finish feels like it's brewing. It has ebbs and flows, it has calmer moments, but everything always gives you this sense that you're almost there. You're about to burst. You haven't bursted yet, but you're about. And every little second counts, and every little second could make the difference. So it has that sense, it has that movement. It only really bursts when you get to the end. When you get to the end of the song, you really feel like all the aggression finally is coming out. Nothing is holding it back. It's a great track, very diverse vocally. Talking about using different styles, different approaches, different tones. This song has a little bit of everything in it. I enjoy the guitars. I enjoy the intensity and aggression that this song had overall or all around. Next you have Judgment Day, a very edgy song. It has a little bit of this edgy experience to it. You feel like there's something there. It's hard to put your finger on it. Musically and vocally, it has nuances, it has great movement, it has great tone, it has great texture all around. It feels a little bit more intense in the verses, perhaps more to the point, more aggression, and then a little bit more melodic, a little bit more pop, if you will, once it gets into the chorus. Still very hooky, very catchy chorus. A lot of the melody helps in that perspective, but also the vocal performance, the changes that you see in vocal performance also help to that. But that verses, the intensity, that aggression that it has really stands out. Two different worlds coming together. The way the song sounds in the chorus and the way the song sounds in the verses, completely different. Different influences, different sound, different delivery, different performance, still all coming together really well, allowing it to feel like a melting pot, and allowing the end result to feel connected, not disconnected, even though you see the differences between those two worlds in one single song. Last but not least, Choke. If there's a track that has consistency of great guitar sound, that is heavy, that is intense, that has aggression, it's definitely this one. It also has some killer bass lines. When you bring those two worlds together, you have a little bit of a hardcore, metalcore sound to it, at least as far as the aggression is concerned, as far as the intensity goes. You add some killer vocals on top of that, and it is a song that absolutely slaps and rips from beginning all the way to the end. One of the most rock-driven, or I should say guitar-driven tracks, and stays consistent in that drive from beginning all the way to the end, giving it this short but very powerful punch across every single second of it. This is it. I Prevail with True Power, out August 19th on Fearless Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.